What's up, my dudes? It's the Vigorous Q&A again. It's been a while. I had to go to the United States for the Arnold Classic, and then I went to Las Vegas, got my ass sick, morbidly sick, one of those expo flus. I was incapacitated for a bit, and then I had a terrible time getting back into this time zone of 12 o'clock in the afternoon to 4 o'clock in the morning. So as I mentioned here in the chat, I couldn't make it last weekend because I was sleeping an hour before going in for this Vigorous Q&A, and then I woke up at 11:30, and I was like, you know what, I better cancel. But without an Instagram account, I couldn't really update you, so I set the Vigorous Q&A to private, and I went back to bed, and then the next day I woke up at 12. But luckily, with the power of bromantate and dihexanupeptide and all kinds of nootropics, I was able to make it. So let's get started with a couple of updates. Let's see. The Arnold Classic was a lot of fun. Met a lot of cool people there. I think it was the biggest expo ever. There were maybe 200,000 people, 250,000 people. It felt like it was nonstop meet and greet, talking. We drew a line at the Omega Minas booth, and I lost my voice at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon already. So for the people that show up after 2 o'clock, trying to get a chat in, my sincere apologies, my voice was long gone. So we were there for 3 days. It was a lot of fun. We'll probably go to the Mr. Olympia as well, but we haven't decided yet. I'm waiting for Chase to kind of confirm, because he'll probably do an Omega Minas booth again. And yeah, and see how that turns out. But his wife will give birth about a month before the Olympia is taking place. So I'm not sure if things will take place. And otherwise, I might change my mind to just come solo. But it is a lot more fun to hang out at the booth with the Omega Minos team and just have a steady place for people to show up and, you know, kind of come shoot the shit with us and have a good time. So Arnold Classic was a lot of fun. And Olympia plans to be determined. We have, 6 months to go? Yeah, it's 6 months, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. And then it will be my birthday on Monday, 28th of September. So I'll be celebrating my birthday in Vegas. Not the end of the world, but not fun without my family. The downside is that, of course, I got sick at the Arnold Classic. And then it took about a week to ruminate and propagate and set in. And then I came home. I was full-blown sick. Basically, the whole flight home, I was either sleeping or blowing my nose in tissues. It was disgusting. And now my daughter is slowly showing signs of sickness, even though I've been home for 2 weeks. And I've been trying to stay away from my daughter and my wife as much as I could, which is, not very pleasant. Obviously, after you've been away for 2 weeks already, and then you try to stay away for another 10 days. But they both got a little bit of cold symptoms going on. So I think the next time I go to the US, ivermectin all the way through. Instagram got rebanned. It got debanned or unbanned when I was at the Arnold Classic. So I was able to get like one post in of my experience at the Omega Minas booth. And then I got banned again. So now I'm talking with the new people over at Meta to get it unbanned. But I don't know if it's going to work. So yeah, these guys take your money and then they disappear. It's one big scam. I heard also that you can actually pay people at Meta to get other people's account banned. So maybe this is going to be like a cat and mouse game where somebody pays Meta to get me banned, and then I pay again to get me unbanned, and it just goes back and forth until one of us tires out. So let's see. Anabolic Roundtable was recorded last Wednesday. We discussed the Enhanced Games cycle design for the swimming classes and the weightlifting classes, but we didn't get to do the track and field. So depending on how well you guys enjoy that Anabolic Roundtable, we might do another one. So that will be on Monday or Tuesday, I think. Let's see. But it will be certainly next week. And for the guys that missed it, I did a podcast collaboration with Nal Niga over at the Transparent podcast with Nal Niga, obviously, and that's linked down below. We got a couple new affiliates. I finally signed with Marek Diagnostics. It took a little bit of a while to sign up with them, but now I have a discount code there as well. So besides Marek Health, where you can get blood work done and then also analysis by a professional team of healthcare providers. So you do your blood work and you can get guidance over at Marek Health. But if you just want the blood work, you can go to Marek Diagnostics. The blood work there is a little bit cheaper because I think Marek Health, they use all the fancy markers over at LabCorp. And then Marek Diagnostics uses a, Quest Quest Diagnostics, which is a little bit cheaper. So you can go to Marek Diagnostics for blood work, budget panels, the androgen receptor sensitivity. GAC repeat testing is also there. 10% discount. Link is down below. And you use code Vigorous at checkout. Let's see, what else? I signed with a 5-offer ductase society. They sell a DHT Enanthate and DHT propionate and androstenedione and DHT Enanthate as well, and a couple other injectable metabolites or precursors to testosterone. So my testosterone Enanthate is on the way, and DHEA is on the way, and I'll run that at the next cycle starting in May. Yeah, I think I'll start again in May. So what I'll probably do is, now that we have access to DHT Enanthate, I'll run DHT Enanthate first, maybe 350 milligrams for 4 weeks, or 350 milligrams per week for 4 weeks, and then 700 milligrams for 4 weeks. And then I'll probably switch to 700 milligrams Mastron for 6 weeks or 8 weeks, and then 700 milligrams of Primo for 6 to 8 weeks. Let's settle this debate once and for all. What is more anabolic? That is testosterone, which allegedly, based on scientific evidence, is not anabolic at all. But anecdotally, DHT Enanthate is a shiznit, or DHT propionate is a shiznit. So let's find that out. 700 milligrams DHT versus 700 milligrams Mastron versus 700 milligrams Primo. And I'll run DHT Enanthate, Mastron Enanthate, and methylone Enanthate, aka Primobolan. That's Primobolan. Yes, I still have ampules of that. Maybe not enough for 700 milligrams per week for 8 weeks, but at least we can kickstart with that and then finish off strong. But hopefully by the time a methylone Enanthate is a little bit more available in the underground lab circuit. But I still have plenty of Mastron Enanthate in my stock. And Primo Enanthate as well. So that's an experiment. So I signed up with them. You can find the discount codes on my website. I signed up with Canada Peptides, or Canadian Peptides. They came to the booth, the Omega Aminos booth. They gave me cigars. I gave my shoes away to the owner because he liked my shoes. So I think that's a fair trade. I gave away my Ultra Boosts because he really liked them. So I said, yeah, fuck it. You gave me cigars. Here's my Ultra Boost. And then I was on my fancy shoes the last day, and I got some blisters. But hey, you give me something, I give you something back. So I signed up with Canadian Peptides. You can find them on my source list. Let's see. I signed up with Disguised Research, and we actually started a welcome sale of 15%. So the Vigorous code is not 10%, but a whopping 15% this entire weekend. So all of their products are indexed on my source list as well. And 15% off. So make use of that, because 15% usually around that time. There are not too many discounts going on right now. And if you already went through your stock of the Black Friday and the Cyber Monday sales, or the GLP-1 going out of stock panic sales, then now's your time to get 15% off over at Disguised Research. And I signed with Stada RX. So that's a US domestic UGL. Very good quality. Met the owner, very nice. Very friendly guy, servicing a lot of people in the United States with his products, and good reviews. So give him a try if you're looking for a US domestic source. And Omega Aminos is doing a free shipping and a free bacteriostatic water and a couple other goodies at orders over $150. So get your wallet ready. There's a lot of discounts going on and new sources over at the source list. And I think it'll be well worth it if you head over to the website, bookmark the Control F source list if you haven't already, and then start diving into all the new things that are available. And that's pretty much all the updates. Let's get the disclaimer started, and then it's Q&A time. All right, Jean Furious, welcome to the Vigorous crew. Jackson Brady, starting the Q&A off with donating to the Cheesecake Fund, $10, much appreciated. Tomorrow I will have Vietnamese, because in the US I ate cheesecake pretty much every day. And then if you go to the Nel Nika podcast, you see that my face is like, I don't know, look like one of those bulldogs. So I'll be off the cheesecake for a while, but the $10 will go a very long way in the Vietnamese food tomorrow. And the good thing about Vietnamese food is just that Vietnamese food and sushi, you can basically eat unlimited. It doesn't make you bloated, doesn't make you fat, doesn't make you hold water, but it makes you feel full and satisfied. And yeah, so Vietnamese it is tomorrow. That $10 will go to the what is it? The spring roll fund. Joshua, what's up? Spark up the Tren and snort Anadrol. My friend's Vigorous Stefan is going live again. Yeah, it's been a minute. Do you think Spider-Man is more popular than the MCU? I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm kind of over all of these superhero movies, and I just watched Hail Mary last weekend. That's a good movie to watch. Yeah, that's a good movie to watch. Go watch Hail Mary. A very good movie to watch in the cinema. Let's see, Mike Honcho. Recent Primo from one of the affiliates gives such severe post-injection pain it's almost unusable. Anybody experience this? Is it risky to push through it and deal with the pain or scrap it and reorder? I don't know. I'm not sure which affiliate you talk about, but if you have a problem with the order, please email me at info@vigoroussteve.com. We'll get it sorted. And if this is a high-dose Primo, like 200 milligrams per 1 milliliter, like I mentioned so many times, that's a little bit on the high concentration side. You might have to dilute that with other stuff or bin it, because 200 milligrams per 1 milliliter Primobolan is not something that I would use or recommend people to use. But hey, some people do carry it. So, and the post-injection pain, right? Is it hot to the touch? Is it red? Is it lumpy? You suspect that it could be contamination or reaction to the compound or carrier oil. That could be too. Like some people are allergic to certain carrier oils, causing a lot of inflammation. Arachi's oil, for example, or ethyl oleate, which like some of the affiliates and sources that I rep produce in ethyl oleate, but I didn't index that in the source list for this exact reason, right? Some people don't respond well to ethyl oleate, and that's why I didn't index those products, even though those might still be sold on their website. Could be contamination, right? Not all the third-party testers do the contamination or heavy metals or like bacteria testing. So I think Chromate tests for bacteria and heavy metals, but Eurofins and Januschik does not. So again, not every third-party testing is the same. What's up, my dudes? I've been having withdrawals from the Vigorous Q&A. Yeah, me too. So it's good to be back. Steve, what's your opinion of all these pancreas and gallbladder issues on Ozempic? I have yet to read or heard anybody on Reddit having similar issues. Do you think it's any risk with Reddit? So I think like Ozempic is prescribed or being used by general population, right? The people in the fitness industry, they know better. They stay on top of the latest literature, and everybody has pivoted from Ozempic to tirzepatide and now retatrutide. Like some people still use tirzepatide because it gives them better appetite suppression, milligram for milligram. But most people prefer retatrutide because you get additional fat burning. And, well, if you don't get adequate appetite suppression, you can always ramp up the dose to more milligrams per week, right? And then get more fat loss out of that. So with Ozempic, it's mostly general population that uses it. And what's the difference between people in the fitness industry and general population? General population doesn't know how to diet, doesn't know how to do cardio, doesn't know how to eat healthy. They just eat less unhealthy food. So they already had pancreatic issues, and they still have cravings for donuts and cheesecakes, and nothing wrong with cheesecakes once in a while, but every single day, I don't think that's a good idea. So they go from 10 buckets of ice cream to 3 buckets, and they're still stimulating the pancreas and the gallbladder and eating garbage food. So what you need to be doing is following the lifestyle. Daily fasted cardio, eating healthy, eating foods that digest well for you, because again, these kind of medications or drugs slow down your digestion. And if you have a hint of a food allergy or a hint of an intolerance to certain food, this is going to make it worse, because it's going to, the latency time, the transit time to your intestinal tract is now longer, right? And the digestion is slower, so you might get more issues. So if you have a problem with resistant starches and you've been eating minute rice that's like reheated, it's going to make it worse. General population doesn't understand this, but people in the fitness industry, they're a little bit more ahead. Not everybody, but the people, you can't put a percentage on it, but let's say a good amount of people in the fitness industry understand that they need to do their daily fasted cardio to mitigate the increase in elevated resting heart rate. And they need to eat healthy, certain bro foods, right? High protein, a little bit of vegetables to help it all pass through, healthy carbs, healthy fats, etc., etc., etc. So you don't see these issues with retatrutide because the people with that take retatrutide, they follow a lifestyle, and the people who take Ozempic do not. And they're the one who get issues. Either bone mineral density loss, vision loss, pancreatic issues, gallbladder issues. You don't see that with Retta because people are a little bit more in tune with their body. I'm on a boatload of Retta right now. I have no issues because I eat healthy and I do my daily fasted cardio. Big Curl, 225 pounds, 10% body fat, recently increased from TRT, or increased the TRT to 300 milligrams per week, total testosterone 1400 nanograms per deciliter, free 450, estradiol 80, SHBG 18 or 16. This seems low for this dose. Yes, I agree. It's from a compounding pharmacy. What could this be? So it could be that you inject 150 milligrams twice per week and you tested your serum levels the morning of your injection before doing an injection. So you're right, you peak your serum levels and then it goes into a trough and then you test your levels in a trough. Maybe you should check your levels the day after your injection. Now, if you're doing daily microadministration sub-Q, it could be that your levels are a little bit lower because, again, the absorption is lower, the levels are a little bit more stable, but the results should still be the same as 300 milligrams. It's in your body, but maybe not as much in your bloodstream at the time that you're testing it. You're also converting quite a bit, so your total testosterone could be higher if you do more daily frequent administrations or use an aromatase inhibitor, reducing the conversion of testosterone into estradiol, and then your estradiol is 40 and your total testosterone is 1600. So it could be relative to when you inject it, that there could be a couple days in between that your total testosterone declined, or you're aromatizing a lot into estradiol, which is shown here in your blood work, unless it's picomoles per liter and not nanograms per deciliter. Picomoles per liter, not picograms per milliliter. Fuck all these concentrations, man. You would think that they would standardize it, man. You know. Anyway, so you're converting a lot. Maybe your diet testosterone levels are off the scale. You're converting a lot into estradiol and DHT, and that's why your total testosterone levels are low. Or maybe they fucked up at the compounding pharmacy. That happens too, man. They're all inhuman. Compounding pharmacies have good guidelines, but not as good as pharmaceutical grade testosterone. Right? There's a difference. How do you deal with the feeling nothing deep into a diet? No happiness, sadness, essentially indifference to everything. Thanks, coach. That's part of the diet. It could be from the retatrutide or the GLP-1 receptor agonist. Like, you have to find the cause. Is the copious amounts of cardio, the lack of sleep, the copious amounts of GLP-1 receptor agonists, the copious amounts of stimulants? Did you start an SSRI, or are you taking tesofensine, which acts as an SSRI, or selagelene? Right? What else are you doing? Military, 18 years old, seek supplements for hybrid performance, army fitness, test focus, and endurance to maintain a competitive edge through retirement. Are you 18 years old, or have you been in the military for 18 years? So I'm assuming you've been in the military for 18 years because you're talking about retirement. Watch the Endurance Deep Dive, man. I mean, there's a million different things that I can go into, but the Endurance Deep Dive Part 1 and 2 discusses which supplements to take to optimize your endurance. And then you'll have to pick and choose what you want to do. But off the top of my head, I can't really remember, but it's all indexed there. My weakest event is the 2-mile run at the end. Okay. Yeah, so you need to do your blood work, check if your red blood cell count is low or adequate, and otherwise in the Endurance Deep Dive, I give detailed instructions on how to bring your hematocrit and red blood cell count up. Is it lactic acid removal? Right, that could be an issue because it's at the end of whatever test you have. So if it's a 2-mile run and it's at the end, maybe you have a lot of lactate buildup, and you can take L-citrulline malate for that, or beta-alanine, or inject carnosine, or take baking soda, right, sodium bicarbonate, or maybe you need some diiso, I always forget what it stands for, but injectable DADA, 50 milligrams to 100 milligrams. Maybe you need ubiquinol. Maybe you need pyrroloquinoline quinone, PQQ. Maybe you need to boost mitochondrial function. I mean, there's so many things you can look into, but that's what the deep dive is there for. What has your wife cycled besides Anavar? Female 10% body fat. Also replacement for MOTS-c and mitochondrial stacks. Severe allergic reaction. ND plus SS31. My wife has cycled allegedly quite a few things. But we're trying to personalize it for you, not for my wife. My wife is long since retired. So for MOTS-c, you could replace that with... There's actually no replacement for MOTS-c. There is an analog for MOTS-c. Analog MOTS-c. I forgot what it's called. CB4211. It's an analog. Now, I'm not sure where to get that. I haven't seen it in any of the source lists, but I think Marek Health has it on prescription. I know some of the people that run with Marek Health have been prescribed CB4211, but of course, it's something you'll have to discuss with them. That's not something like, hey, can you prescribe me CB4211? That's not how it works. So you'd have to get in contact with them, do blood work, talk with any of the patient care coordinators, and then see if that's an option for you. Right? That's up to their discretion. So that's something you can look into. Maybe change sources for MOTS-c, maybe to reduce the dose to half a milligram, 1 milligram per injection. I discussed that in the MOTS-c deep dive. And SS31 and NAD plus stacks with MOTS-c, but doesn't replace it. So, you know, for females, 10% body fat, I mean, that's already pretty lean. You probably already lost your period. So, you know, 5 milligrams Anavar, 25 milligrams DHEA, 200 milligrams 7 keto DHEA per day, 100 milligrams morning, 100 milligrams afternoon, not too late. Otherwise, it keeps you awake. It's good to boost metabolism and keep your fat loss journey going. 2 IUs, 3 IUs growth hormone before bed. Half a milligram, 1 milligram MOTS-c per day sub-Q, unless you get severe allergic reaction. Then look into that CB, 4211 analog. At the exact same dose. I believe it's a 1-to-1 ratio, the conversion. 10, 15, maybe 20 milligrams sub-Q NAD+, 1 to 2 milligrams SS31. The deep dive's done, by the way. I just need to record it. Haven't had time to sit down to record it. What else can you look into? I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, 10 milligrams methylene blue, 1 milligram SLU PP332 over the day, 250 micrograms 4 times per day or 3 times per day. Ramp up the dose to crazy amounts like I did. You know, a lot of things you can look into. G here. What's up, G? 300 milligrams testosterone enanthate, 300 milligrams Primo per week, daily injections. Total testosterone, 1600 nanograms. Why is everybody's level so low? SABG 8. Okay, at least the Primo is working. Estradiol 27. SABG dropped as expected, but DHT came back below 5. Unmeasurable. No, so you're not converting a lot to DHT. At least you would expect DHT to be elevated. This is normal on Primo. Is my Primo fake? No, I think your Primo is fine because your estrogen went down for the amount of testosterone you're on. I think your testosterone levels are kind of low. At 300 milligrams a test, you should be at 2,200, 2,500 nanograms per deciliter. So I think your test is underdosed. Hence, your estradiol, well, estradiol could be at 27. It kind of depends on your body fat levels as well if you do a 300 milligrams a test. And 300 milligrams of Primo. So again, it's in the name for testing, only buy from reputable sources. There's a lot of issues recently with testosterone enanthate and Primo. So, and DHT that low, I'm not really sure what that's causing that. If you're in a 5-alpha-reductase inhibitor like finasteride or dutasteride, then of course it's going to be low. So, yeah, I don't know. Make sure you buy from reputable sources, man. There's a lot of garbage going on right now. How was the trip? The trip was fun. Yeah, trip was fun. Super chats and members get priority. Joshua knows. We got a full chat already. People were missing the Q&As. Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of questions today. Is it okay to have DHT that low? Usually it affects your libido, but if Primo is in there, you might get some DHT-like effects from the Primo and keep your libido going. Yeah, you see no side effects. Libido is great. We'll be cutting 2 more months. What do you think? Have a great weekend. Just make sure that the Testin Primo that you get is legit, or preemptively buy Testin Primo from another source that I just mentioned at the beginning of the video. Again, Stada is very reputable, and otherwise Bellygus and some of the other things that are indexed on my source list. I'm just not sure if everybody has Primo in stock. So again, supply is limited. And then maybe switch brands and see how you respond. Maybe you get a much better blood work, much better response from switching brands. And then you knew that the previous brand was underdosed or something else entirely. Smoke any good cigars while you were in the US? Yes, I went to... where was this? I met Jared Fetters at Cigars. We went to Cheesecake Factory because Jackson Brady from... one of my friends, he gave me a coupon for Cheesecake Factory, so that's where I went. I went out with Jared Feather, and then I walked past the cigar lounge there. I can't remember what it's called. Let me find it real quick. Caesar's Cigar Lounge. Monte Cristo Cigar Bar. It was okay. And then I smoked a cigar which was decent, but I can't remember the name. I got a couple cigars when I was there. So it was not a good cigar, but it was a decent cigar. And I only smoked cigars once because I started getting sick. And then problem is that, when you're sick, you don't really taste the cigar and it doesn't taste so nice. So maybe the onset of the sickness of the flu that I got at the expo was already taking place. And that's why the cigar that I got at the Monte Cristo Cigar Bar in Caesars didn't taste as good as I expected. Every reset, the Luchador mask is on its way. Sorry for the delay. No worries, bro. I already got the confirmation. So I got a picture of the mask that you sent me. So I think it will be here in about 2 weeks. So in the near future, you'll see me open up this Vigorous Q&A in the Luchador mask. And then we're going to be answering questions that way until I start sweating profusely underneath the mask. And you guys are, is this guy sweating or crying? Leave that up to your interpretation. Hey, Steve. I hope you and your family are doing well. Hope the fuel shortage is not crazy. Praying you guys during this time. Thailand is totally fine, man. I filled up all my motorcycles. I got a little bit of extra gas. The prices did went up at about 25%, but it's okay, man. It's just times. It's just times, you know. I don't understand why they closed the Strait of Hormuz. Could have expected that if you bomb Iran. You know, I don't know why I attacked all the other Gulf states. All right, we're all good, man. We're all good. The only thing we've noticed is that fuel prices have gone up a little bit, and I think that the flight prices will go up, and the cost of goods will go up. But hey, I'm financially secure, so even if the prices go up a little bit, I'll be okay. Iota carrageenan nasal spray works wonder by preventing upper respiratory shit like colds and flu. Yeah, I need to get some like colloidal silver and zinc, and I just every time from now on, every time I get sick in the U.S., I'm just going to be on some sort of antiviral medication preventatively, and even though it might fuck my liver and my health, it's still better than coming home sick. It's a lot of fun at the expos, but it's also nasty as fuck. What are your thoughts on SS31 combined with injectable D-ball on leg day? I don't see how there's any synergy or overlap or drug interaction there, so go for it. Gyno is not going away on 40 milligrams tamoxifen and 40 milligrams raloxifene 4 weeks like this. Shall I discontinue until it's gone? Well, if you don't notice any shrinkage, then it's just time to do the surgery, bro. Like you can only shrink it that much, maybe by half. But if it's not going away, all the tissue has already been formed, and the only reason or the only way it's actually going away is by doing the surgery. So if you're already on 80 milligrams SERMs for 4 weeks and it's not going away, then it's surgery time. If it's got a little bit smaller, that's the maximum shrinkage you're going to get at this point. And continuing with the SERMs any longer than this is just risking blood clots. and low IGF levels. And so just schedule the surgery. On 175 milligrams testosterone anathated with every other day injections, my total testosterone is 1,800 milligrams. See, this sounds more like it. And not like, my levels are only 700. No, 1,800. There you go. Like, I'm on 200 tests. And the day after my injection, I do 100 milligrams of test on Monday and on Thursday or Friday if I forget. And then I did it on Friday and I tested my levels on Saturday. I was like 1,500 nanograms per deciliter. I think that's okay. It's still not super high. But if I go to 300 milligrams per week, it will definitely be over 2,000. Free testosterone 500, SABG 24 increased to 285 milligrams with daily injections. New vial, total testosterone came back at 670. Okay, so it went down. That doesn't sound good. You increased it by 110 milligrams, so that's 40 per. I don't know. It's quite a bit increase. Yeah, that doesn't sound good. You might want to contact your supplier. Is the new vial bunk? I don't know how much time is there in between you switching the vials and you retesting again. If it's 4 weeks, 5 weeks, then I would say that the new vial is underdosed. But if it's been 1 week, then yeah, it could just be a moment in time. It takes a little while for shit to go up. Yeah, this is why we listen to me and not to people in the chat. We're not gonna if nothing happened in 4 weeks, if it shrank a little bit, you're not gonna double up the dose. And what most protocols call for is 120 milligrams raloxifene. Still, man, surgery. I did 60 milligrams raloxifene for 4 weeks and 120 milligrams for 4 weeks. And it shrunk it by half, and I still ended up doing the surgery. Serostim price increased. Really? What's the best pharmaceutical equivalent from your website list? Thank you. There's nothing like Serostim. I want to show you guys something. I went to the US and I did some shopping. Stay tuned for gains. Talking about Serostim, look what I found. So what's the best pharmaceutical equivalent? I think there's nothing like Serostim, allegedly. Maybe what comes close is Genotropin and Norditropin, pharmaceutical from, the Europe. But apparently Serostim is the way to go. So I'll figure it out as soon as my cycle starts. And, yeah. But you just have a look at the pharmaceuticals at my source list. I'm just using generics right now. It's working okay. I can't complain, but I'm just maintaining right now. Just trying to maintain these cannons. Hey, look at this. I think I maintain them quite well. Hey, look at this detail, bro. Look at this shit. Wish my abs were that lean. Finally got my body shape back after going to the US and eating cheesecake every day. I came back with a souvenir. It's like, when you look good, the face was a little bit bloated, but it was not that bad. Because I fasted on the way back, so I didn't come home too bloated. But then I took my shirt off, dude. My lower back was like, I don't know, like pudding. It's disgusting. So any kind of pharmaceutical grade growth hormone will do, but it's probably cheaper than Serostim as well. So, thought on Joe's English GLP-1 cycling protocol. I have not looked into that, so if you want my opinion, please summarize it for me here, and then I'll give my comments on it, starting my next push with what? How would you utilize injectable anadrol during the bulking cycle? This would be in addition to test and Primo cycle. I would do injectable anadrol maybe the last 4 weeks, 6 weeks, depending on your appetite. Like oral anadrol causes issues with most people appetite, right? Same as for myself. Liver gets a little bit overworked. You don't really feel hungry anymore. But at the end of the off season, you need to eat. That's how you gain size. It's not about the end of the off season is 2 grams of test, 2 grams of Primo, 2 grams of Mastrone, 500 milligrams Deca, and then you throw the anadrol on top. No, you run a moderate cycle dose, good amount of growth hormone, maybe some insulin, and then a copious amounts of food to facilitate growth, right? Muscle tissue is not going to be grown from the injections that you do. That just stimulates muscle growth alongside the stimulation of muscle growth that you get from the heavy training that you do. But the building blocks come from the food. So you need to eat the building blocks. And for that, oral anadrol is not preferred over injectable anadrol. Injectable anadrol is the way to go. I would do 50 milligrams to 100 milligrams split bilaterally in the muscle that you're going to train that day. So about an hour pre-workout, you inject 25 milligrams, 50 milligrams injectable anadrol into your chest or your lats or your shoulders or your quads or your, well, hamstrings is a bit tricky. Adductors you could do. I've done that. 50 milligrams anadrol into the adductors on the hamstring day, and then you go do the adductor machine first. Spread it around a little bit, and then your adductors it's like a pillow for your nutsack. Basically, they're so pumped that you literally have to lift your nutsack, your shriveled up balls, unless you take HCG. I usually took HCG up until recently. I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm done. I got embryos. I got a daughter. It's fine. I got semen frozen. It's fine. Anyway, back to the topic. 50 milligrams injectable anadrol split bilaterally into the adductors. It's a little bit difficult to inject, but once you get it in, it's in. Then you do the adductor machine full stack with a gym pin, and then you put 2 of those big, fat, juicy 45 pounds on there. You do 12 reps, and then your adductors are so blown up that you literally have to lift up your entire junk and lay it on there because there's no space. There ain't no space in that area. But again, do it at the end of your bulk, because even injectable anadrol at one point you start to get a little bit messy with your digestive tract. It might happen after 2 weeks. It usually happens after 4 weeks, but it might still happen after 2 weeks if you really push the anadrol. But with oral anadrol, it starts to happen in a couple of days. You can still push it for 4 weeks if you're, a little bit crazy and know how to torture yourself. But with injectable anadrol, usually by week 4 to 6, you're kind of done with it. So, yeah. And maybe the post-injection pain is too brutal, Jessica, blood work was on 200 milligrams a test. Of course, depending on blood work, I want to boost to 300 milligrams a test. I'm also on 100 milligrams of Primo to see if it's controlling my estradiol. I think add a low dose of Tren. Okay, what were your blood work results? I mean, you're making a statement. It's not a question, Justin. Thanks for the $2. Donating to the Cheesecake Fund, 12 euros. And this guy knows that all the good cheesecakes are a little bit more expensive. So he went to the Cheesecake Factory menus. Like, it's $12 here. It's probably $12 there for the fancy 1,500 calorie cheesecakes. Take my 12 euros and shut the fuck up, Steve. So yeah, we'll go into the Cheesecake Fund, but I'll probably spend it on spring rolls at the Vietnamese place. A cheesecake or Trenbologna sandwich, one is better for cutting? Thank you, Steve. So you have Trenbologna sandwich during the week, Monday to Friday, and then Sunday you have a cheesecake to refeed. But one cheesecake with just one slice, not the whole cheesecake, just one slice. And then you boost your metabolism, you're good to go. Love your stuff. I've tried to find dosing and timing for injectable anadrol, still 50 milligrams a day. Will it still work as a pre-workout? Yeah, so 50 milligrams per day to 100 milligrams per day, depending on your size. So I might do 50 milligrams on upper body workouts and 100 milligrams on leg workouts, for example. And then you split that bilaterally into the main muscle group that you're going to train. So that's 50 milligrams into the quads, both quads, for 100 milligrams total, 1 hour before training quads. And then you finish off with a level of hamstrings, adductors, and calves. That will, of course, leak out to the tissue and diversify. But, the quads is the most demanding. You usually do that at the start of the workout. And that's where the anadrol is going to go into. So for just If you do a push day twice a week, 50 milligrams into the chest total, so that's 25-25, and then maybe some Increlex and injectable pre-workout, Somachems, Aminotech, they all got that covered. Yeah, 6 injections. It's a lot, but the pumps, man, oh my God, the pumps are so good. Chest blows up like boobies. And then you got the steroids in there, you got the AMP and ATP in there, you got the IGF-1 in there, and hopefully the carbs with some intra-workout shake. Man, dude, all the girls would be jealous. So I had to pay $5,000 to get a chest like that. And you're like, oh, I got it for significantly less, but I had to slam a boatload of high-branch cyclic dextrins with essential amino acids and do 6 shots. Right here. In this area. Don't touch it. It's tender. Okay, so what is the question here? Are you waiting for blood work? You think you can add in a low-dose Tren? Yeah, sure you can, but wait for the blood work results. So 25 milligrams, 50 milligrams per week. If your estradiol is in range and your prolactin is normal, I don't see an issue with it. What adjustments to your stopping thyroid protocol do I need for years of use? I can't train for 6 months right now due to surgery. Should I wait until I can train to start coming off? If you can't train, I would keep some sort of thyroid in there. Otherwise, you get fat. And you need some sort of activity to really help with metabolism. Like metabolism is dependent on food intake, micronutrients, obviously, and activity. But if you're eating for recovery from a surgery, it's probably in a surplus, right? That's how you heal the best. Your micronutrients will be covered that way, right? If you watch the deep dive, you know that you need to get your iodine, selenium, vitamin K in it, and electrolytes to a certain extent. And but the training is not there. Now, if you could do some cardio, you could come off and follow the entire protocol. But if you really are immobilized, you're doing a surgery where you're lengthening your legs, for example, right? Can't really do any cardio, can't even go swimming because, you get those sticks, those metal rods sticking out of your body. Then, yeah, you're pretty much immobile, and I would not come off the thyroid medication because it might shut down, and then your recovery is impaired because you need thyroid medication for the metabolism to keep going to help with the conversion of nutrients and the utilization of nutrients. So I would stay on a maintenance dose. What is it, 12.5 micrograms T3 twice per day and 25 micrograms T4 twice per day. I think that's a replacement dose for most people. Your TSH would still be in range, albeit low. Follow up, if it's over inversion to DHT, what does it mean? I have no idea, dude. I have no idea. I don't know. If you're taking a 5-alpha reductase inhibitor or something is not converting, then I don't know. I need to see your full blood work. For that, I offer consultations. Just got IGF and GH blood work. How much GH will be? We're talking about GH or HCG? How much GH to be anabolic? As much as you can afford. You mentioned 250 milligrams. No, I mentioned 500 IUs of HCG 3 times per week. Steve, I got a powerlifting meet. No clue why, but they only test testosterone, LH, and FSH. How to use triptorelin to spike LH and FSH to normal levels. I think 100 micrograms the day before or 2 days before. Yeah, that's it. But it might be better just to use Nolvadex and Clomid or enclomiphene for a week. If they only check testosterone, whatever levels you had, stop the testosterone, use enclomiphene for a week, 25 milligrams before bed. And then LH and FSH and total testosterone should be in range again, I think. But it really depends on the person, you know, and how well you respond. So triptorelin is risky, man. And not all the triptorelin is real. It's probably more likely that your enclomiphene is real than that your triptorelin is real. But 100 micrograms triptorelin maybe 2 days before should spike LH and FSH a little bit. But it shouldn't be out of range. Baker Boy, what's up, bro? What are your thoughts on SS31 on specific training days, like leg day for some injectable Dianabol or Anadrol? Maybe a little extra GH on those days as well. So SS31 has no immediate benefit on your performance. I did a deep dive already. SS31 is a protecting compound for your mitochondria, protecting them from oxidative stress, whether that's internally generated or produced outside. Now, SS31 binds to the cardiolipin molecules within the mitochondrial membrane, and it doesn't have an acute effect, unlike MOTS-c. MOTS-c helps with energy production by facilitating nutrients for the mitochondria to produce more ATP. So SLU, MOTS-c, methylene blue, ubiquinol, PQQ to a certain extent, that all causes an immediate effect. So you could schedule that around your workout. But SS31, it doesn't matter when you take it. It's the same as cholesterol or fish oil, right? It doesn't have an immediate effect. It takes some time to be utilized into the mitochondrial membrane or into the cell membrane, or in case of cholesterol and fish oil, and then it protects locally. So you just run 1 milligram, 2 milligrams as a maintenance dose. If you want to have a recovery dose under conditions of severe oxidative stress, then you would need to increase it to 10 milligrams, maybe even 40 milligrams. So if you want to protect against oxidative stress from cigarette smoke or cigar smoke, then you go to 10 to 40 milligrams. If you want to protect against oxidative stress or damage to the body from like contrast that they use in the CT scan, then the dose is 40 milligrams per day. But if you just want to prevent against a little bit of oxidative stress from leg day or the steroids, I think 1 to 2 milligrams is a nice maintenance dose, and that's what will be recommended in the video that I will produce eventually. How would you dose 36 IUs of weekly GH budget? 6 to 7 days, 6 IUs and off, or some days higher and some days lower. I like high carb days, liking high carb days more and rest days less. Now, I would do it just post-workout. Give yourself 2 days off per week. So if you train 5 times a week, 36 divided by 5, 7 IUs. I mean, on leg days, you do 8. And then you take 2 days off, and that way water retention is a little bit less. Your insulin sensitivity will be better. So you have a high carb day, you don't take any growth hormone because it might interfere with your insulin sensitivity on that day. And the rest days, I mean, the rest days is usually the day after the workout. If you took growth hormone before bed the day of your workout and the next day is a rest day, then on your rest day, IGF-1 will be significantly elevated the entire day, and that's good for recovery. So yeah, like Joshua said, 5 days. You could take it every day, but you know, it seems that for some people, the side effects of water retention and insulin sensitivity are less on 5 days a week. And if you really want to improve weaker body parts, like let's say you want to bring up legs and you train legs twice a week, 18 IUs twice a week. Fuck it. You know, 18 IUs post-workout or before bed, bro. Save that leg, save that GH for your quads. What are the benefits of Empagliflozin? I could not find a very detailed video from you. I haven't done a deep dive on it. Have you ever tried low dosing Accutane? Yes, I have. 10 milligrams twice a week, 3 times a week. Keeps acne at bay. But the Empagliflozin, so the benefits is that it helps control your blood glucose levels and helps you promote the excretion of excess sodium. So for all of you guys that might take growth hormone before bed and worry about insulin sensitivity, then Empagliflozin is a good add-on, even though growth hormone raises free for fatty acids in the bloodstream, which you can mitigate with carnitine. So you inject growth hormone and carnitine alongside of it. You might still get some blood glucose elevation through a loss of insulin sensitivity, even though for most people who are physically active, that doesn't seem to be the case. So you take the empagliflozin, and then whatever over a certain blood glucose level, or the excess glucose that doesn't get absorbed, gets disposed in the urine. And it's the same with the sodium. So empagliflozin seems a little bit more beneficial regarding the water retention that growth hormone causes through aldosterone manipulation, or renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system gets a little bit altered, especially at high dose growth hormone. And then instead of taking a diuretic, you take a compound that acts like a diuretic by promoting sodium excretion in a form of empagliflozin. Now, empagliflozin and dapagliflozin are the only compounds that really show longevity benefits, whether that's in unhealthy people or healthy people. So unlike telmisartan, yeah, we take it preventatively. If you read the scientific evidence, you see that's not really for longevity purposes. Same as metformin, right? The longevity purposes have been debunked, but empagliflozin and dapagliflozin, the longevity benefits still stand. So 25 milligrams empagliflozin, or what was it, 10 milligrams dapagliflozin before bed alongside your growth hormone and your injectable carnitine. I think that's a good way to kind of minimize the side effects of insulin sensitivity or potential issues with insulin sensitivity from the growth hormone. And they keep you a little bit leaner cosmetically, prevent excess water retention or excessive water retention. Is there any benefits to running IGF-1 LR3 alongside growth hormone, or should I do a 4 weeks, 6 weeks IGF-1 LR3 and then bring growth hormone back in? Much appreciated. Yeah, you can take IGF-1 LR3 and inject it locally for localized effect to bring up weaker body parts. So if you want to bring up your, your lats or something like that, you keep the growth hormone high, do a bolus growth hormone injection, the day of your back day before bed, which will produce a significant amount of IGF-1. But then you inject IGF-1 LR3 bilaterally into the lats pre-workout 1 hour before, which would help with nutrient partitioning and insulin sensitivity and creating massive pumps. So your workout is now more effective. The growth hormone facilitates systemic IGF-1, and then you inject IGF-1 LR3 for localized IGF-1. The systemic IGF-1, you don't know where it's going when it's released, because it's bound to IGF binding proteins. But the IGF-1 LR3 is right where you need it to be, into the lats, assuming you injected the lats on a back day, which is a weaker body part. And then you get massive pumps and enhanced recovery locally. So again, IGF-1 should be injected in the muscle that you're trying to improve, and then over time you should see a benefit. Growth hormone gives you systemic IGF-1, which will work everywhere. So you don't choose where it works. Cutting for 6 months, lost around 50 pounds, close to 9% body fat right now, veins showing all over. Can't seem to get my abs to come out, even though I'm training them hard 3 times a week. Mostly loose skin, I just want to have to wait until the skin shrinks. Yeah, sometimes it takes longer than expected, man. I have the same issue. If it's stubborn fat, right, around your abs, maybe look into 5-amino-1-MQ. Maybe a little bit early to use that at 9% body fat, but you could look into it. 50 milligrams 3 times per day orally, or 50 milligrams sub-Q once daily. Seems to give similar effect. Helps with fat metabolism in stubborn body fat areas. Maybe you need some Anavar. Maybe you need some collagen peptides. Maybe you need the waist trainer. Maybe you need to reduce a little bit of carbohydrates to reduce the water retention. Maybe you need empagliflozin to reduce the water retention. A lot of things you can look into, but in most cases, it just means that you need to continue dieting to get your body fat levels down. And then the abs will show more. Hey Steve, in what order would you deploy ARBs or beta blockers, slight resting heart rate elevation versus calcium channel blockers or diuretics, potassium sparing wasting for blood pressure? Any recommendation protocol stack? We discussed all of this in the Anabolic Roundtable. So we deploy ARBs, beta blockers last. I have no experience with calcium channel blockers and diuretics. I never recommend it for high blood pressure. But you can look into empagliflozin, which helps with sodium excretion if that's the cause of your blood pressure. But first things first, look into your magnesium and calcium intake, look into your daily fasted cardio, look into your food intake, look into your consistency of electrolyte intake. That's also very important. Look into the compounds that you're running, If you're running copious amounts of Anadrol or the Anabol, yeah, maybe take that out instead of adding another compound in. There's a lot of over-the-counter supplements which help with blood pressure. L-citrulline, beta-alanine to a certain extent, nitric oxide, right? A lot of these vasodilators help with blood pressure, obviously. Cialis is something you could look into. What is it called? The herbal stack of a couple things. I forgot what it's called. I know it's we discussed that as well in the anabolic roundtable. And then if that all of that doesn't work, or you're not willing to compromise by taking the Anadrol out, then if it's an elevated heart rate issue causing the blood pressure, then maybe a better blocker. But if you're elevated, if your resting heart rate is not elevated, then I would look into an angiotensin receptor blocker. But again, daily fasted cardio can probably fix all of that. Steve, I know your gyno list already, but my coach has me on 300 milligrams weekly, and my gyno's catching up. 300 milligrams of what? Already on raloxifene. What else can I do? Stop the 300 milligrams of whatever it is you take, and test your estradiol and prolactin levels. Find the root cause and address that. Don't take one compound stubbornly and then throw the raloxifene in, and then it doesn't help because it only reduces the water retention basically, and then you still need to do the surgery. So find the root cause, address it, do your blood work, see what's going on. Maybe it's not estrogen, maybe it's progestogenic signaling, maybe it's hyperlactin, maybe it's just water retention. Thanks for the super or for the donation. Is there any question? I don't see it. Don't see it. What are the best hard-hitting interventions for dealing with Tren-related insomnia? Take the Tren out. In a health phase, I plan to utilize HCG and 150 milligrams TRT. Should I remove growth hormone before I use, or can I stay? I can stay in. I mean, you won't get the synergy of anabolism because your testosterone dose is so low, but you will get the fullness and potentially fat loss if your diet is under control. So if you're in 150 milligrams TRT, split 50 milligrams Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then 500 IUs HCG Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, your levels should be about 1,500 to 1,700 nanograms per deciliter. I think you can utilize 2 IUs of growth hormone for slight anabolism fullness and the cosmetic benefits, and then 4 IUs will just, I know, give you a little bit more fullness and maybe a little bit more recovery, but not additional anabolism. So can stay in. It's not milligrams, it's international units. Get it right. International units, not milligrams. HCG is measured in international units. I'm like 8 weeks into the body recomp, 6 feet, 217 pounds, 100 grams of protein, 80 grams of carbs, or 85 grams of carbs. That's like nothing, dude. You're eating like my wife eats more. My daughter eats more than that. 75 times 9. You're eating like 1,700 calories. What are you doing? Training 5 times a week, 4 times cardio, don't see much muscle gain. Yeah, because you're eating like a little girl. Do I need to eat more? Yes. I know I'm in a deficit. You're in a steep deficit. Yeah, 1,750 calories. Eat more. What are you doing? Stop eating like a little girl. Eat increase by 10% until you start growing. So you go from 1,750 calories to, what is it? 1,750 times 1.1. 1,925 for 2 weeks, then increase by 10% again, 2,100, 10% again, 2,300, 2 weeks, 2,500. Every 2 weeks you increase by 10%. Let me know when you start growing. You will not get fat, assuming you eat healthy. Switching from 0.5 milligram anastrozole daily, man, that's a lot. That is allowed to EQ on 250 milligrams a test. High aromatizer. Need to keep estrogen low during transition. Best protocol for the switch. Start EQ at 250 milligrams to match your 250 milligrams testosterone. You get EQ lowering estradiol and 3 of its metabolites lowering estradiol, or 4 metabolites that are dihydroboldenone also does that. So it's 4 metabolites that lower estradiol. Although we don't know how much boldenone converts into that, or boldenone could be like 0.7% or something like that. It's less than testosterone. Keep the anastrozole in at 0.5 milligram for 1 week, 0.5 milligram daily for 1 week, then 0.5 milligram 3 times a week for another week, and then by that time EQ start to saturate and it should be okay. So again, add in EQ, 250 milligrams per week, on top of the 250 milligrams testosterone that you're running. You're doubling the dose, get more anabolism. Then you keep the anastrozole at 0.5 milligram daily for the first week that you're on EQ. On the second week that you're on EQ, you go to 0.5 milligrams anastrozole 3 times a week or every other day if you want to, and then you take it out. Then by week 6 on this protocol, 6 weeks on EQ, 6 weeks on EQ, 4 weeks off the Arimidex, you do your blood work to see where you're at. To keep trend size minimal, what? To eat 1,700 calories and keep trend size minimal? 300 milligrams a test, 100 or 150 milligrams Primo, 100 milligrams of Tren. If you want to keep the trend size minimal, run 25 milligrams to 50 milligrams. And even then you will get sides. Follow up on the triptorelin instant release. Is there an instant release? I think there's only one version of triptorelin. I was thinking about 75 micrograms and 10 milligrams test propionate 4 hours before the blood test, because I'm on estradiol cycle with EQ, and it's somebody who's trying to reinvent the wheel. LH, FSH right now is 0. I don't think your LH and FSH will come up that fast after 75 micrograms of triptorelin. I think you need 1 or 2 days. But hey, try it and do your blood work and see where you're at. But 10 milligrams test propionate, I don't think that will raise your testosterone levels significantly. I think what you need is 100 milligrams test prop the day before to bring you back into the normal ranges. So I would do 100 micrograms triptorelin 2 days before the test, 100 milligrams test propionate the day before the test, and then you check your blood work and see where you're at. Right, it sounds like a very weird protocol to do, man. Is it safe to prolong EQ used as an AI on TRT dosing? I'm on 125 milligrams testosterone cypionate with 900 milligrams total, 80 E2. Well, I mean, nothing is safe if it's not bioidentical. So you could look into Primo, Mastron, or EQ. They all have their benefits and downsides. EQ can raise your hematocrit more, but at 120 milligrams EQ per week to control your estradiol, I don't think that's going to be an issue. So you try it, add in 120 to 150 milligrams EQ per week, check your blood work 4 to 6 weeks into that, see where your estrogen is at, and then over time, over longitude, every month, every 3 months, you check your hematocrit to see if that's an issue. I mean, maybe 150 milligrams, 120 milligrams EQ per week is too much for you, and your estradiol will be too low, and then you need to adjust the dosage based on how your estradiol levels change on your blood work results, which you need to do frequently. So, I don't know, do it often and then adjust from there. I would still rather use you use Primo, but if you can't get it, then EQ is an alternative option. Steve, good to see you back live. Looking forward to the SS31 deep dive. I have 500 IOs generic GH. How would you run this during a cutting phase? Still as high as possible? Again, it depends on what else you're running. I mean, I can't give a blanket answer if you don't give me any kind of indication on what your cutting phase is going to be. So, I don't know if I use the sub-Q before bed 5 times a week on workout days. Is that generic enough? GH is a terrible fat burner. It's a very expensive, terrible fat burner. but it's great for anabolism and fullness, alongside a steroid cycle. Is there any benefit to running high-dose growth hormone on a fertility protocol, trying for a baby and recovering from a neck injury? I think a replacement dose is beneficial, as I mentioned in the fertility deep dive. I think 2 IUs, 3 IUs of growth hormone is good for fertility. That has been scientifically proven. At least a replacement dose. Like growth hormone replacement therapy is good for fertility. High-dose growth hormone, I'm not sure. Steve, is there any research into how androgens change your facial structure? Not that I'm aware of, but a simple perplexity search should be able to give you some studies. I know if there are studies. I know anecdotally it does, but wanted to know if that's backed up. Not to my awareness. No, but I never looked into that because I'm not a looks maxer. I don't care about, it's from the waist down I care. Big dick, big muscles, but the face... Only one person needs to sit on it, and she's sold on this face. So, I don't need to change anything. Just try not to look too fat and old. Steve, thoughts on 300 milligrams test, 300 deca, 10 milligrams anadrol, 10 milligrams anadrol? Are you fucking kidding me? Go to 50, dude. Versus 600 test, 10 for lean bulking. Anadrol is injectable. Even then, you do 50 milligrams. What else would you add or change? Thanks, brother. Lean bulking is... I would do 300 tests, 300 deca, and 50 milligrams anadrol. Yeah, and an aromatase inhibitor, obviously. And some growth hormone, some insulin, IGF-1 and R3, and weaker body parts. The sky's the limit, man. You're bulking. The only limiting factor is your health and your wallet. So if I was lean bulking, I would add in the kitchen sink. Healthy foods, 300 tests, 300 deca, 150 anadrol, 50 milligrams anadrol pre-workout. On workout days, so that's 250 milligrams per week. 8 to 10 IUs, 12 IUs, growth hormone, 5 times a week. I don't know, 1 milligram Increlex split bilaterally pre-workout. Insulin here and there. I would add in the kitchen sink, man. Trying to grow, right? Get that synergy. My last pin was... It's funny that people expect me to remember everything. Last pin was Wednesday. Got blood work today, Saturday. This would be my trough. Yeah, so that's your lowest amount. So that could explain why your levels are lower than expected. Go inject today and then do blood work the next day. See how high it is. Unless you want to fool your prescribing physician. Like, you see how low it is, bro? I need more TRT. But I always check it the day after my injections. And it might be lower a couple days later. It is what it is. Will my joints dry out on 10 milligrams Accutane 2 to 3 times per week? Or do you have some advice or drug that can help? No, there's no way you can mitigate the joint dryness from Accutane. I had joint dryness on Accutane 10 milligrams twice per week. Whether I was on Deca or not. I got more joint pain from 30 milligrams injectable YK11 than 10 milligrams Accutane 3 times a week. So that's why I ran Accutane 10 milligrams 2 to 3 times per week for a very long time. And injectable YK11 at 30 milligrams per day only for 4 to 6 weeks. If you train very heavy, then I don't know, if you're a power lifter, you can mitigate acne with a better diet, better hygiene, removing the inflammatory foods, or designing your cycle a little bit better, reducing your estrogen levels, making sure your hormone levels are more stable. Like, Accutane is the last resort. And if you train heavy and you can't afford to have your joints dry out or your tendons compromised, then you need to look into other avenues to get your acne under control. Because Accutane can cause injuries, even at a low dose. Or at least make them dry that you don't feel confident to do PRs. So, yeah, I would... I don't know, maybe look into injectable glutathione. It's good for your skin. Stop eating so much goddamn cheesecake. Telling myself, not you. Finally, making Q&A live. Long-time listener. Just want to firmly say thank you for your time and knowledge, Daddy Steve. All right, we're putting that Australian dollars, which is like, what, $2 in American? No, I'm joking. Well, putting that into the Vietnamese spring roll fund for tomorrow. Thank you so much. Where can I buy that shirt? Full of smiles and good vibes. So this shirt is no longer available. It's from a brand called Elite Grips. It's a Japanese brand. And last time I tried to look for the Rakuten and some other websites links, but this is no longer being sold. So it's limited edition. Maybe you're able to find it on eBay or some secondhand store in Japan. Japan has a lot of secondhand stores. But it's not available online. I looked. I wanted to put it, in a perma link on my website so people could buy it, but it's no longer available. I'm still high 20% body fat. You recommend adding Tren, assuming I keep a diet clean, cardio and workout, or can I stick with Test and Primo until my body fat gets a little bit lower? Yes, that's what I would do. 20% body fat, you're begging for side effects when you add the Trenbologna in. Trenbologna works best when you're already lean. And I would only add in the Tren if your diet is clean and you work out and do the cardio. Don't use it as a crutch. Use it as a enhancer of the effort you already put into. Best interventions for those dealing with insomnia and poor sleep who are legitimately checking their sleep hygiene boxes, no sleep apnea. Watch a deep sleep deep dive. There's 4 parts. Start there. I'm sure you'll get some idea. And find the root cause. What is the root cause of your insomnia? Do you have a guilty conscience? A lot of stress in your life? A lot of light in the room? You're on a boatload of Tren? You're taking too many stimulants? Like one of my VIP clients say, I can't sleep. And I asked them, what are you doing during the day? 60 milligrams nicotine, 1,000 milligrams caffeine, and stimulants like Adderall and Vyvanse and Venturamine. I'm like, yeah, of course you can't sleep, bro. Of course not. You're on all the stimulants. Well, this guy signed up right after he posted a question. All right. Do you know anything about the claim that any cycle only produces MPS for 50 days? What is that? MPS? Mean practicals. Megapixel. What do you mean with MPS, bro? What do you mean? I don't know what you mean. Do a deep dive on the mechanics of half-life. Dude, I've done this. I've done this. The half-life of the esters of testosterone. It's discussed there. And people can Google by themselves. It's a video will get no views. What adjustments to your stopping thyroid protocol do I need for years of use? I already discussed this, bro. I already discussed this. Use timestamps when the Vigorous Q&A is done. I literally just discussed this. Just want to say thank you for your great content. My pleasure, bro. $2 will give me maybe a po in Vietnam itself. But I'll add it to the Cheesecake Fund, bro. Thank you. Justin, you're starting to spam now, bro. Right? I think you need a consultation. Justin, schedule a consultation. Right? You're paying $10 for the Vigorous Q&A, but it doesn't mean that you get to continuously spam questions with questions or to get some free advice. What you need is a coach. That's what it sounds like. You need a coach or a consultation. I've answered 10 of your questions already. It should be enough. Now let's leave some questions for other people. Steve, about to run 300 tests, 300 Primo for 20 weeks and 20 milligrams. Anavar, what supplements would you suggest prone to hair loss and acne? Eat better and don't use Primo or Anavar if you're prone to hair loss. There's no supplement out there that can prevent it. You could use test or nandrolone only, but if you're prone to hair loss, you're going to get bald. It's that simple. In this cycle, you will lose hair. There's no supplement to prevent that. Can you reduce the hair loss by taking minoxidil shampoo or ketoconazole shampoo or topical dutasteride, finasteride, and RU588, whatever the number is, whatever zip code comes after that. Topical RU, maybe you can minimize it, but you can not prevent it. Acne is, again, we just discussed this, diet, hygiene, skipping inflammatory foods, a better, using some topical stuff with cerulic acid, something like that. But yeah, if you address the hair loss and the acne before you get on a cycle like this, get that under control before you get on a cycle like this, and then maybe you can minimize the side effects. What does MPS mean, man? I don't know what that means. 5 years growth hormone at bedtime. TSH been steady between 1.5 to 2 million units per liter for the last 3 months. Low T4, free T3 creeping up. 800 micrograms iodine, 400 micrograms selenium. Is T4 needed if TSH stable? No, I think you're fine, man. It's a moment in time. And maybe your thyroid binding globulins are freed up from steroids that you're taking, right? You have low thyroid binding globulin levels. Total T4, T3 could be normal, fluctuating a little bit because your thyroid binding globulin levels are low from the steroids that you're using. You go with TSH. If it's low, I think you're fine. Unless you're in a steep caloric deficit, but with 800 micrograms iodine and 400 micrograms selenium, I think you're totally fine. But it's a moment in time, man. Thyroid levels fluctuate quite a bit during the day. Look at the graphs. Do some research on, look for graphs on how your thyroid levels fluctuate. You'll see that the levels go up and down depending on food. And in the morning, it's usually the lowest. Because you've been fasting for 8 hours. Titrated from 2 IUs to 8 IUs growth hormone over a year. Hemoglobin A1C 4.9 to 5.7. I do cardio, carb cycling, lean. Got a continuous glucose monitor to check blood glucose levels, usually between 70 and 90. No crazy spikes. Anything that can be skewing my hemoglobin A1C ratings. No. If your continuous blood glucose monitor shows that you're always in range and there's no crazy spikes, then your hemoglobin A1C should not be this high. Because your hemoglobin gets glycated from the excess glucose that's in your bloodstream, turning into hemoglobin A1C. That's a glycated hemoglobin. It's a special version of hemoglobin that is bound with glucose. And it's 5.7%. Now, could that be from the growth hormone? The way to test that is to take the growth hormone on for 3 months and then see if your hemoglobin A1C comes down again. But I would not suspect that your hemoglobin A1C is elevated from the growth hormone if your glucose levels are in range all the time, especially at night. So yeah, I'm a little bit at loss here. I don't know. If you do cardio, you're carb cycling, you're lean, I don't see why your hemoglobin A1C would be this elevated. No. I don't know. Muscle protein synthesis. All right. Do you know anything about muscle protein synthesis being elevated for only 50 days after starting a cycle? No, never heard of that. Oh, which educator is touting this? What does this mean in practice? Can we only get muscle protein synthesis increase and start from the same dose after a cruise? I've never heard about this. I don't know where this is coming from, but this sounds completely false. I mean, people have been on cycles for decades, and they still get muscle protein synthesis. So be careful who you listen to, bro. Justin needs a coach. My mother's blood work, age 60, showed slightly elevated white blood cells and somewhat low red blood cell count. Hematocrit, hemoglobin, not sick day of draw concerns. I don't know, bro. I would need to see the full blood work. And again, I'm not specialized in mothers who are 60 years old who live a normal lifestyle. So we have doctors for this. Ask the doctor. Any new stuff with the bikes? I got an itch to buy a bigger cruiser. My VTX 1800 is getting boring. I went to a Motor Expo this week and discussed my options with Ducati again. So there might be an option for me to test drive it, but so far nothing. I did see this new this bike from China. It's like a knockoff Honda Valkyrie / Rune. I'm not sure if I can find a picture here. Let's see if we can flip that. It's called the Great Wall. A Great Wall Suo CL 2000 or a Suo S2000 CL. So it basically looks like a Valkyrie and a Honda Rune. It's 2000 cc, 8 speeds. Of course, I got to sit on it. Focus, bro. It's a big bike. Looks really cool, but I have no intention to import it. Now, I could import it from China and not pay any import tax. But then if the cops catch you and you don't have any registration, then you're fucked. They'll take your bike. So we don't do that. I think it's about $30,000 to $40,000. So that's a pretty steep price. But it's a very nice cruiser. 2000 cc's, 8-speed dual clutch transmission. So you don't have to do shit. Just rip it and go. Yeah, so still waiting for the Ducati XD Evolve V4 test drive. If I test drive it and I like it, then I'll buy it. And otherwise, nothing. Nothing. I looked at the Honda WN7. That's an electric bike. It looks like shit. It looks like shit. I haven't really seen any new bikes on the market, man. I mean, I'm eyeing a V-Rod to start modifying it. But I haven't really seen a good deal. I mean, there's so many V-Rods and Harleys for sale. I can just patiently wait until the right deal arrives. Any insights into the Billy Gus mishap? Made a lot of people toss bottles, and still have mine, but hesitant. So on the website, they made a statement on what happened. And otherwise, just contact them. You know, they're looking to make right. So they had a little bit of a production issue, and they already put it on Billy Gus Pharmacy website that there was an issue and how to check your numbers and that you get store credit. So there was an issue, and they're doing their best to rectify that. So just contact them, go to the website, and then you can see how to get some store credit if you had one of the batches that was wrong. So their reputation is very important to them. I raised the issue, and they're doing their absolute best to make right with the customers that got products that were not what they were supposed to be and had post-injection pain. Shit happens, you know. It's underground lab. At least they're trying to make it right. Thought I deleted that first comment, didn't mean to double ask. No, that's okay. I just didn't know what MPS, what you meant with that. But muscle protein synthesis, I should have known. But hey, man, it's 1:20 in the morning. I want to say thanks. Found your channel in December, and it's awesome. All right. Did I make any videos since December? Not really. Subscribe to the Clips channel, where all the old videos are kind of regurgitated in easy to digest format. Went from 155 to 88 kilos. Man, that's like half your weight. Currently 105 kilo. DEXA scan says 8.1%, but I think it's closer to 12%. Well, DEXA scan is pretty accurate, man. But maybe you're holding some water and you have some loose skin from when you were chunky as fuck. Doing 45 minutes daily fat assisted cardio at 130 to 145 beats per minute. Moving to a surplus. I wanted to bring my cardio time to 30 minutes daily. Best way to do so: 1 minute per day reduction. A 1 minute every couple of day reduction. So you barely notice it. I would reduce the cardio first and then go into a surplus. Because by reducing the cardio from 45 minutes to 30 minutes, you already create a caloric surplus. Or at least go closer to maintenance. So maybe reduce it with a minute every couple of days. Or I think 15 days is fine if you're not changing your diet. And if you're already lean, it shouldn't affect you too much. So let's say 1 minute per day, so 44 minutes tomorrow, and then 43 minutes on Monday, etc., etc., etc. And then you hold 30 minutes for a week or two, and then you start increasing your calories. I think that's pretty good. Yo, Steve, you're doing the Schlong God's work. Yeah, you have to. Visit the Vigorous site for awesome links. That's right. Sorry I couldn't visit you, Anthony. I was fully booked in Las Vegas, but we're probably coming back for the Mr. Olympia, and then I'll swing by the shop again. And I have no way to contact people because my Instagram is dead. All right, it's deleted. Trying to get it back now. Let's see. Did I get an update from Meta? Nope. Oh, I see that somebody already went to 5AR Society. Put in an order for $700. My man. My man. I can delete that update. DHT Enanthate, say no more. Say no more. Shut up and take my money. Does an HDL of 92 and LDL of 158 need to be addressed? Yeah, that LDL is a little bit high, but the ratio is still good. Sounds like a natural level, though. Total cholesterol is what? 92, 158. Oh, total cholesterol might be around 300, right? So I would address that LDL depending on your ApoE A and B levels. But yeah, it's probably better to bring the LDL down to below 100. Best orals for quick visual changes on top of 350 milligrams testosterone. Anavar, Winstrol, Trinbologna, they all have their unique benefits. Depends on how your body fat levels are. Any insights on Curtis Bulldog scalp? Oh, that's when it looks like this, right? Can be made worse by TRT, particular growth hormone. Yeah, some people have it. So for me, I have these. Man, there you go. You see this, right? I have 2 on this side and 1 on this side. And that's because I sleep mostly on my left side. So every time I sleep, you know, the pillow kind of pushes this up. And you get this indentation here, right? And then, you know, when I wake up, it's a little bit deeper because the pillow kind of, you sit like this. It's exactly in the wrinkles that show. So you're like this a little bit, but on the pillow. And on this side, I sleep less, so I have only one stripe. But there's this cutis vertices gyrata or CVG. Yeah, it can be made worse with TRT and growth hormone, but it's from the water retention. It's not the actual skin folds that are worse. It's just it makes it look more pronounced due to the water retention. So yeah, if you suffer from that, have a full head of hair so you know nobody can see it. But the water retention from TRT, growth hormone, and insulin and whatnot, anadrol, blah 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 blah, can certainly make it look worse. So be careful if that's an issue for you. On 80 milligrams Trenbologna per week, before I use growth hormone, I randomly go hypoglycemic. Is it mainly diet related? No, Trenbologna is known to make you go hypoglycemic, even at a low dose of 80 milligrams per week. Should I cycle off after 16 weeks? Keep a low dose indefinitely. After 16 weeks on Trenbologna, I would cycle off of it. Yeah, you can keep the growth hormone in and see what the root cause was. If you don't go hypoglycemic anymore 2 weeks after stopping the Tren, or 3 weeks, 5 weeks, then it was the Tren. And if you still go hypoglycemic, then there's an issue with your insulin sensitivity. You might get an insulin dump at some points during the day. Or it could be that you're just eating simple sugars too often. And this is why you go hypoglycemic. But dude, when I was doing the 400 milligrams SLU PP332 experiment, I was going hypoglycemic. At certain points during the day, I would have my first meal, just beef, chicken, beef liver, vegetables. And then if I didn't eat on time, I would go hypo later in the day. So I'd need to eat within 4 hours again. Otherwise, I would go hypo. And then if I ate that meal, of course, hypoglycemia would be gone. But if I didn't have like a little bit of fruit pre-workout, then I would go hypo during the workout. So yeah, some of these compounds make you burn through glucose really fast and wipe out all the glucose in your bloodstream. I thought $75 was high for Enanthate, but 5AR on 5AR. Then I realized compounding pharmacies charge 150. I'm a 5AR customer, by the way. They won me over. That's good. Yeah, I mean, it's not cheap, but it's you get 5% discount with my code. But it might be worth it. I haven't tried it myself, but it's on the way, and I will definitely keep you guys posted on what the ideal protocol is. I'll start with 350 and bump it up to 700. Might be a lot, might be too little. I don't know. Scientific evidence on injectable DHT is kind of non-existent, but the anecdotal response of 350 was pretty good, and I'm a big guy. I'm sure I can take more. All right. We're at the bottom. Hey, Steve, would you trust peptide websites or peptides and GLP-1s that don't have label? Yes. If you trust your source and you send in, for testing, then yeah, you could trust it. But that's how everybody gets their peptides, bro. Without label. It just says retatrutide, it says RT10 or RT12 or RT50. So that's retatrutide, 10 milligrams, 12 milligrams, 40 milligrams, whatever. So that's how everybody gets their peptides. And then what they do is they order a batch. The companies order a batch, or one kit of 10 vials. They send it in for testing. And then if it's good, they order more. And then the labels go on. So as long as it's tested and that batch is verified, then it's good to go, whether the labels are on there or not. If there's a label on there, it's more expensive. If there's no label on there, then it's cheap directly from China. So I have my fridge full with peptides, TB500, BPC157, tirzepatide, retatrutide, MOTS-c, SS31, a couple other peptides, and none of them have labels. But it's from the same batch that got tested by AP. And those tests all came back good. So we're like, yeah, fuck it. I'll just order some directly to me instead of, going through the process of adding in the labels. But as long as they're tested and the test results are known, then I would trust it. If the test results are not known and you're just getting it from a random Chinese peptide supplier XYZ, then I would send it in for testing yourself. Because it could be something else. Let's see, what else? Real Professor Schlane, Steve, was nice talking to you at the Arnold. Hope everything is going well. Up to 47 clients since we last spoke. Staying slim pilled, motherfucker. Okay, that's good. The Real Professor Schlane. What are you, this young guy that was on insulin that we talked about? You hang out at the booth for quite a bit. I can't remember. I can't remember from this picture. But yeah, I enjoyed talking to most people that I met at the Arnold. It was a lot of fun. Steve, what do you do daily for fasted cardio? Bike, walk? I have an elliptical. I do the elliptical. 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Usually 20. How long is unmixed GH good for? Until you use it. Yeah, assuming you keep it in the fridge, it's good pretty damn long. Could off-season retatrutide potentially impair hypertrophy? Would this concern be non-existent with tirzepatide? Because of the glucagon? No, I don't think so. But off-season retatrutide, the dosages are very low. We're talking about 0.5 milligram to 1 milligram per week. Just to take away the food noise and allow for more diet adherence. I mean, the glucagon at 1 milligram per week and what is only a small percentage compared to actual glucagon. I think it would barely have any overlap to hypertrophy. I don't think it's an issue. If anything, the hypertrophy would be better because you have more diet adherence and you eat less crap. And and then you have to diet off less crap, meaning that you sustain more of the muscle that you built during the off season. Looking at 5AR, they have testosterone isocaprate. Not familiar with that ester. Would it be any advantages over enanthate? No, it's pretty much the same. Isocaprate, I think, has a similar half-life as well. Just they have it, and it's a little bit of a unique item. And some people would like to try it, so might as well put it on your list. So if you put in an order for DHT Enanthate, might as well add in an order for testosterone isocopyrate and give it a try. See how you respond. But I think isocopyrate, yeah, I don't know. Often it will take me some time to find, but I'm not sure if it's more or less net testosterone once you take the isocopyrate away versus taking the enanthate ester away. It's probably in the esters video. Maybe I can find it. I could probably find it on my own YouTube channel. Let's see. Esters. Oh, man. Getting sleepy. What is the best steroid ester? Man, that video's 2 years old. All right, let me see. Carrier oils, esterases, carboxyl esterases. Isocopyrate, 6 carbon atoms, half-life 3 to 1 to 9 days. And enanthate is 7 carbon atoms, half-life 4.5 to 10.5 days. And again, depends on the study that you read and the carrier oil being used. So where's the net testosterone? Enanthate. For testosterone, that will give you, so if you're, testosterone enanthate is 72% testosterone. And what is isocopyrate? Did I put it in here? Isocopyrate is 74.6% testosterone. So with isocopyrate, you get 2.6% more testosterone. It's probably negligible, but if you're injecting a gram of testosterone, then if you're on a gram of testosterone, with enanthate you get 720 milligrams, and obviously with isocopyrate you get 746 milligrams, so that's 26 milligrams more. I don't know. Yeah. You can also do the test, a gram of test and 25 milligrams of Tren. But hey, it's on the source list, so you give it an order. It's easy to order. See you at the Olympia. See you at the Olympia, bro. Yeah, Omar, looking forward to catching up with you. We'll see you in 6 months. Fingers crossed. I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty close to pulling the plug and booking another first class ticket or business class ticket. Just had a DIXA scan saying I'm at 8.8% body fat. Would it be safe to keep growth hormone in during peak week next week? I would take it out for a week and then reduce the water tinge, but I don't know what you look like. Like, I like to remove it about 2 weeks before the show and then reintroduce it maybe 1 or 2 days before the show. But I don't know, discuss it with your coach, or it depends on your look. If you feel you hold a little bit of water, then I would take the growth hormone out. And 8% body fat is good for bikini, but if you're doing another class, it might not be lean enough. I would take it out and reintroduce it. Can I run EQ while on a cruise of 200 tests and 50 EQ? I aromatize pretty heavily, and I'm 15 to 18% body fat year round. I don't think 50 EQ is enough to control your estrogen on 200 tests. I would just use an aromatase inhibitor, man. Whatever you need. Whether that's 1 milligram, 2 milligrams of Arimidex, or 25 to 50 milligrams of Aromasin. It's not really a cruise if you're adding into the EQ. Well, that it can be considered a cruise. It's not TRT, that's for sure. Like, I'm on TRT, 200 tests, and GH. So it's HRT. I'm ready to chat. And some mitochondrial support peptides. It's also HRT. When you say injectable DHT, you're referring to standalone. Yes, standalone is the synonym for DHT, right? DHT, I think it's on the wiki page. Yeah, standalone. Yeah. Let's see. Starting Semax, good starting dose daily, 500 micrograms, whether that's intranasally or sub-Q. I think 500 micrograms is a good starting dose, and unless it's N-acetylcysteine or N-acetyl Semax or amidate, or those dosages are a little bit lower because it seems to be more bioavailable. But yeah, 500 micrograms for regular Semax is a good starting dose. Is Paul going live after this? I didn't see. I didn't see his thing in the. Let me see if Paul's going live. Anabolic bodybuilding. Live. No, there's no pending live stream from Paul. Too bad. Alexandra has no water retention, but she's doing bikini. And you could try to keep it in and see what your look is like. And then if you're doing another show, maybe take it out at least 2 weeks and then reintroduce it at 6 to 8 IUs 2 days before the show. See what your look, when your look is better. Keeping it in or reintroducing it 2 days before the show. And let us know. Oh, Paul's at Disney World. Yeah, I saw a picture of Paul wearing a Disney hat. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, Chase also into Disneyland or Disney World. He said he only did one ride and then he got sick or something. He didn't want to take the Dramamine. I think going with your kid when they're like 2 years old are a little bit too early to go to Disneyland. But Paul has like adult kids or close to it, like teenagers. And that's a good time to take the kids out to Disney World, man. At least I'll remember it. I can't wait to go back, but I'll have to wait like 10 more years before I can take my kids to Disney World. Any difference in effectiveness between Anadrol pills and atrocious? Compounding pharmacy, my clinic has both. Yeah, so if you take Anadrol orally, it passes through the liver and partially gets broken down. But if you take it as a troche sublingually, you get 100% of the Anadrol into your bloodstream, and then it gets broken down after it activates the muscle. So atrocious sublingual Anadrol has higher bioavailability than oral conventionally taken Anadrol passing through the intestinal tract and the liver. $10. Come on, you're a member. You don't need to do that, Alexandra. But much appreciated. We'll put it in the Vietnamese spring roll fund. All right, guys, I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick, and then I'll be back for another 20 minutes, and then we'll wrap it up. Alrighty. Fasting today and tomorrow, but you now got me. Wait. But you now got. What? Got me wanting to break it for the shrimp spring rolls. I just fast another day, man. It's easy. But fasting over the weekend is harder than during the week. Testosterone best dose for muscle building. I have videos on this. It's called the best dose of testosterone. Start low, build your way up. Any thoughts on adding 20 milligrams Anavar to a healing stack of TB 500, BPC 157, GHK, copper, and GH? Good idea. For somebody not taking steroids otherwise, maybe less of a good idea. But Anavar, in some of the scientific evidence, doesn't shut people down for if they limit it to 6 to 8 weeks. Whether it suppress HPTA too much, I think yeah, it would suppress HPTA, but an Anavar only cycle is also easy to recover from HPTA wise. So you could do a full healing stack and then add in 20 milligrams Anavar, split 10 milligrams morning and evening. Maybe you don't get suppressed, and if you do get suppressed, it's only for 6 to 8 weeks or however long you're going to take the Anavar to heal from the injury that you suffer from or the surgery that you had. And then maybe run enclomiphene 25 milligrams before bed for 2 to 4 weeks, and then the HPTA is recovered. And then people is like, yeah, well, why did you do Anavar only cycle? I said, look at this fucking bicep tear, man. I had to. I had no choice. I had no choice. This online influencer made me do it. Steve made me do it. I think it's not the end of the world, man. I think it's better to take Anavar as an oral only cycle alongside your healing stack for injury recovery, and then doing it for getting shredded on the beach. I think it's more noble to do it now as part of a healing stack than for vanity purposes later on. Best of the test, same as Tren. Fill the syringe. And you got to make sure you get those 20 mil syringes, baby. How do I donate not through YouTube to ask questions? I remember a few others doing it. Yeah, you just go to my website or you follow the in the description section. There's a donation link. And then, don't open all my... and then the question will be there. But yeah, I got to do it quick because we got 15 minutes left. Let me go to my... not Proton Mail, private mail. Let's see. Yeah, so if you donate now, I'll answer it. And otherwise, you can do it here through the super chat function. Does injectable carnitine actually work for fat loss? Worth the money to add it to my fat loss stack? How much fat loss can I expect or modest? It's a modest fat burning aid, but it's also fucking cheap. So why not use it? I use it. I use 500 milligrams injectable L-carnitine before activity, and I'm pretty lean. Not super shredded, but I'm pretty lean. Where's my fat? Fat is all covered up. Best thing to lower ab fat. I have a video on this, stubborn body fat areas, but long story short, keep dieting. Just keep dieting. Just keep dieting. Eventually it will go away. Smash the like button. Yeah, that's a good idea. That helps. Oh, Jesus Christ. You posted this 1, 2, 3 times. All right. You know what that means, right? Banned for life. Banned for life. You're not special, even though you got your questions answered. You keep spamming questions. As soon as I find out, you're done. You're done. You're out of. Get out of here. You're fired. Don't waste your time, Anthony. He's already gone. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. No. 200 milligrams versus 400 milligrams SLU PP 332 a day for fat loss. Well, you get more with 400 milligrams. Yeah, also risk going hypo. Did I get that on 200 milligrams? No, I didn't. Look at this bicep. Surprise bicep. Yeah, you probably get more fat loss with 400 milligrams, but maybe also side effects like going hypo. But it's I was very pleased with 400 milligrams SLU BP332. Didn't really change my blood work. I got it for free, so I can't really, say anything on the cost. But I think it's a wonderful compound. Can you run it very, very long? No. Will it lower your IGF? Yes, in some people. So you got to be careful for that. Yeah, and it's a bit of unknown territory, right? A lot of people have used 1 milligram, 10 milligrams, but not many people have used 400 milligrams. And just because I walked away unscathed, or Guerrilla Chemist walked away unscathed, doesn't mean that everybody will. So make sure you do your blood work. Banhammer, yeah, there we go. I just mention it. How do you know if you go hypoglycemic? Oh, you'll know, dude. You'll get fucking blurry vision, and you start sweating profusely, and you get confused. You'll know. You'll fucking know when you go hypoglycemic. What do you use to reduce stretch marks? I have a video on this also. You have laser, like it stimulates the collagen, I think, in the little crevasses of your stretch marks, and makes it turn into a different color. So it may fill it up and change the color from like the purple, pink to a little bit more clear. But yeah, you can reduce new stretch marks by using some ointments with like what the pregnant women use, right? Rub it on their stomach. What is it? Cocoa butter, something like that. Yeah, you know it when you're on the floor. Exactly. That's how you know when you're hypoglycemic. What an asshole in timeout. Bye. What was the average age of fans at the Omega Amino booth during their build size? Yeah, so I mentioned this on the Nalniga podcast. Too many kids, man. There were a lot of big guys, a lot of big bodybuilders. Many clients from Kurt came up. I think I must have met like 10 or 12 guys. So you meet a bodybuilder, a big guy, big hands, fucking huge shoulders, jacked, all jacked and shredded and strong looking. Yeah, I work with Kurt. I'm like, fuck, dude. Everybody works with Kurt, and they're all fucking jacked. I told him on the Anabolic Roundtable. I think you liked hearing that. So I met a lot of Kurt's clients, a lot of jacked dudes, a lot of people from the industry, but there were, I think like maybe 25-30% of the people were kids. Too many people on drugs, man. It's not what this channel was intended for. Like kids under 25 just running copious amounts of shit and not looking the part. And that's a bit of a shame, because I was natural until 26 and I had a pretty decent build. Like, did I look like I was on gear? Probably not, but I looked better than the kids that came up to me at the booth that were on gear. It's a bit, I don't know. It made me feel very conflicted, honestly, because I want these kids to stay healthy and make the right decisions, but they already decided to use the gear and they're not doing it correctly. So, well, I'm not their daddy. Dude, there was one guy who brought his dad, and his dad put him on TRT. He was 17. I asked him, how low were your levels? Yeah, they were normal, like 600-700 nanograms per deciliter. I didn't know what to say, man. I didn't know what to say. Yeah, he wants to turn pro. Fuck. You know what? You're 17. You don't know what you want. So I don't know if they were trolling or they were dead serious, but I didn't know what to say to that. Cocoa butter and witch hazel. Found out low iron, high total iron binding capacity, low transferrin, aka iron deficiency, leads to slower turnover with blood cell count falsely elevating hemoglobin A1C. Okay. Besides Anadrol, what can help? Never donated blood. You could take an iron supplement and B vitamin supplement. Maybe that can falsely elevate hemoglobin A1C. But I've seen low iron and lower transferrin. I've seen, iron deficiency and anemia, and I've never seen elevated A1C on that. So, I don't know. Do your blood work. See if you have these kinds of levels on your complete blood count before you make any changes. Podcast with now was really enjoyable to watch. A lot of useful information delivered there. Thank you. Don't read the comments. Don't read the comments, bro, of that podcast. Oh my God. Mr. Blackmail is trolling hard. Well, got nothing better to do. Young and dumb, too much gear, not enough training and food. Yeah, that seems to be that seems to be the common occurrence. Steve, what are your thoughts on injectable M-Stim Ultradol? I've seen some underground labs and Chinese venture offer it a lot lately at 100 milligrams per milliliter. Haven't tried it yet. Send me the sources, and I might give it a try. Yeah, but the DHT Enanthate is on the way. Yeah, I can't wait to try that. I remember making that video comparing DHT Enanthate with a couple other things, and then doing the research and everybody raving about it. I'm like, fuck, man, I got to get my hands on it. And I asked Chase, Homebrew King. Chase, the Homebrew King, he said, bro, where can I get DHT Enanthate? And he looked far and wide, he couldn't find it. And then some of you guys pointed me to 5AR, the 5AR Society, and then I got in touch with them, and they're like, yeah, we'll send you some stuff and give you a code. So I can't wait to try that. And then let's settle this debate once and for all. Is DHT Enanthate more anabolic than Mastrone or Primo or not? Let's see. Maybe I get like full-blown prostate enlargement, which I already have. I should do an MRI, the fucking other prostate exam, right? Just with the finger, and then kind of circle it around. This looks pretty large, and 8 weeks later, I think it's pretty big. Yeah, I think it's pretty big. I did that CT scan with Chase Irons, and that gave me unremarkable results. Let me see if it's somewhere here. CT scan results. Yeah, my liver was slightly larger. And it's weird because I have a little thyroid nodule, right? It's like a couple millimeters across. I didn't catch that. And I also have a hemangioma in my liver and didn't catch that either. But it says that I had slight liver was slightly bigger than before. So between the MRI and the CT scan, the 6-hour MRI and the 5-minute CT scan, I have a slightly enlarged liver and a slightly enlarged prostate. Oh, and then I did an echocardiogram, ultrasound of my heart, and I have a slightly enlarged heart. So I have a bigger than average heart, bigger than average liver, and bigger than average prostate. Oh, well. Well, Joshua says his hemoglobin A1C is too high to be caused by iron deficiency. And Joshua is a doctor. So, listen to Joshua. Or is he a nurse? What are you, nurse or doctor? Joshua, I got to apologize to you, man. I remember you as a separate individual from the Anabolic bodybuilding podcast on Sunday and in here in chat. And I didn't put it together until Sunday when you guys were already gone. So I felt like a fucking retard. I told Chase, I said, Joshua, right? That's in the chat of everybody that's always making everybody laugh. He was supposed to come by. And then Chase was like, yeah, man. He came by yesterday. It's like, wait a minute. And then I put it together. I'm like, fuck, dude. I know we had a little talk, but I didn't put one and one together, bro. I'm so sorry. We were talking. Right? I said, it's the guy from the Anabolic podcast with Paul and a couple other guys. But I didn't realize you were the same guy that is always making everybody laugh here in the chat. So when you come to the Mr. Olympia, remind me, and then we'll have a proper chat. I still owe you a beer. Fuck, I felt so stupid Sunday. And Chase is like, you didn't know that was him? I said, no, man, Joshua Kevin Perry. I just see a name on the screen. I have no idea what he looks like. But I didn't realize you're actually on Paul's podcast also. I'm such a fucking idiot. Yeah, it was a long week. Anyway, let's leave it there, guys. We all have an enlarged prostate. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Yeah, it's part of the game. So yeah, even though it's hilarious, I do feel like a bit of an idiot, Joshua, for not recognizing who you were. All right, guys. Yeah, I'm probably coming to the Mr. Olympia. Not 100% sure on it yet, but it's very likely they'll come. I had a good time. Always have a good time in the expos. It sucks getting sick and then coming home and having to semi-quarantine for my own family. Can't even kiss my wife on the mouth or give my daughter a hug because then I'm scared to give them the sickness. And those American sicknesses, and you guys know, right? The ADHD and the autism and all these American diseases, they're exclusive to America. And then you bring them home. You got the American COVID flu, and it makes everybody not feel so good. Watch AB Live. I got good jokes. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I'll go watch it tomorrow. Okay, guys. We'll see you. We'll see you again next weekend. And then the weekend after that, I might be gone again for a little vacation. So tune in next weekend. And I'm not making any promises for the second week of April. But next weekend, I'll be here. All right, guys. Peace out. I'll see you soon. Don't forget to misbehave this weekend. That's exactly what I'm going to do. And whatever Vigorous Steve does, you have my full consent to do the same. You know what that means. See you guys later.